Hey everybody, it's Morgod 60 Kevin here, LOVC. I haven't done a vinyl hunter update in quite a while. Most of what I've been buying has been online, and so I do have a little bit to show you from vinyl hunting a couple weeks back, and I was just happy to get out and about, and but I gotta get a little refreshment here. Nice spring day finally. Well, actually summer really. So anyway, what we're listening to is some Scanners, an album called Flagellum Dei, D-E-I. Great album from this Italian band. This came out in 2000 on the Underground Symphony label. This was my intro to the band. There we go. So anyway, here's what I had picked up when I was out vinyl hunting. I stopped at 3 places, and I'll show you one of the first places I stopped was at the Vinyl Giant. Usually my go-to store when I'm up in Fargo. And so I was going through the stuff, and I picked up a somewhat decent copy. Cover's not bad, not a lot of ring wear. The album's in pretty good shape, and I'm talking about Ray Manzarek. It all started with rock and roll. Now it's out of control. I think Ray did 3 albums, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, this came out in 1974 on Phonogram Records label. I really do like this release. I like the one previous though a little bit better. And I'm trying to think of which one it was. I can't think of it right offhand anyway. So this is one of my pickups at the Vinyl Giant. And trying to finish off my Wishbone Ash collection. Found a decent copy of this. It's got a little bit of ring wear on the back, but vinyl's in good shape. And I'm talking about Wishbone Ash and Wishbone 4. This is a gatefold. This came out in 1973 on MCA Records. Great band. This band and Status Quo are 2 great bands from the UK that put out some great music. If I would have to choose one that I like a little bit better, would be Status Quo, but Wishbone Ash is right up there. Still a great release. Finally glad to have this one, Wishbone 4. And while I've always been a fan of the first 2 albums, I consider very raw. That was my intro to the band. Who later changed their name. And of course I'm talking about Y&T, and I picked up Open Fire. I've been slowly but surely acquiring them all. Again, I like the first 2 Yesterday and Today albums. Very raw sounding. Always have. Those will always be my first 2 loves in Y&T Yesterday and Today catalog. Of course, this one came out in 1985 on A&M Records. Of course, this is Open Fire, a live album. And of course, it has pretty much, well, it has actually 25 hours a day from, I think, their second album. And of course it has Summertime Girls, the studio version. But anyway, the album's in decent shape. Glad I picked this up. And like I say, it came out in 1985 on A&M Records. I rarely ever come across this band stuff, and when I seen this, it was a no-brainer. I do have one other album by them, and I'm trying to think of what it is. And of course, I won't be able to. And I'm talking about, this album came out in 1968. And the cover's in not bad shape for how old it is, on the Universal City Records label, Uni label actually. Talking about Fever Tree, psych band Fever Tree. And this came out in 1968. Very psychedelic. Very good album. Like I say, the cover's in, well, the cover has a little bit of issue up here and on the side, and until I find a decent cover, all I did is I just fixed it up here and on the sides. It doesn't bother me that much, but picked up the Fever Tree, and this does have the original inner sleeve, which you don't find very often anymore. And the vinyl's in actually very decent shape. I cleaned her up, looks good. It's on the Uni label. Anyway, so that is Fever Tree from 1968. As you guys know, I love finding old stuff from back in the 60s and the early 70s. And then I seen this online when they were showing collections that came in, and I went in specifically to find this. I couldn't find it. Finally, I was going through their new release section of the metal section, which Vinyl Giant has a pretty decent selection of the heavy metal of all genres in there. And this one, for some reason, was in there. I'm talking about the compilation sampler from Heavy Metal, or Metal Hammer. This is a German release. Of course, I don't know if you can see the back, bands on there. But of course it has Merciful Fate, Raven, Venom, Satan, Thunderfire, Cloven Hoof, Metallica, Tokyo Blade, The Rods, Battle Axe, Exciter, Anthrax. The cover has a little bit of an issue. Right down here it's got a little tear off over there, but all in all it's not bad. The vinyl's in decent shape. Inner sleeve, original, on Roadrunner. And I'm just happy to pick this up. Vinyl's in. It's got a little bit of wear on it, but clean her up, I think she'll play fine. So anyway, then I just got to fix the inner sleeve a little bit. So anyway, that is what I picked up. Well, I got one more to show you, I guess. And I don't see this very often. In fact, I've never seen it there. And it's kind of a rare find for me. I paid a little bit for it, but it's a cutout. The band is called Teaser, and the album Hard as a Rock. It's on Roku Records. Came out in 1980. And it's a 5-piece band. And for the most part, the cover's in pretty decent shape. Like I say, it's got a little punch out here. But all in all, still pretty decent. Some 80s hard rock. Here is the inner sleeve. The say it's on Roku Records. This needs to be cleaned up a little bit. So anyway, those were the Vinyl Giant finds, which I'm happy to pick up. First, I'll clean these up, put them in correct sleeves and outer sleeves and inner sleeves. So then I stopped in over at Orange Records, which was just a block down. And normally I don't really go there all that much because their selection of used is very minimal. But for some reason I went in there that same day and went through, I didn't really go through the used section all that much because it really doesn't change there a whole lot. So I went through a bunch of the new releases and stuff, and I found some stuff that I was surprised was there. So I was going through it in my first go through, and I picked this up and I put it back. And I'm talking about Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, and live at Ocean Center, Daytona Beach, March 25th, 1987. This is a Russian release, and I've never seen it. I'm a huge Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. It's hard to find a lot of his stuff in the wild right these days, but occasionally you do come across. So I put it back, like I said, and then I went through searching for some other stuff, and I came back to it, picked it up. I had to get it because I didn't know how long it would be there. But anyway, this is my first pickup there at Orange Records into the Stevie Ray Vaughan. This was actually released on Vinology Records out of Russia, and it was made in 2017. And then I was going through a bunch of stuff, and I knew I haven't seen this band put out any new material in quite a long time. I do have one of their albums on CD, and I'm talking about The Obsessed and the album Sacred. This is their first album from The Obsessed in 20 years. This is, of course, with Wino, Scott Weinrich, and this came out in 2017 on Relapse Records. If you like Doom, definitely check out The Obsessed. Same vein as Cathedral, Candlemass, St. Vitus, stuff like that, so I was happy to pick this up. It was a fairly decent price. It's got the matte finish, which I do love. And then, by chance, I've never seen this, and this was also not a bad price, so I picked this up as well. And I'm talking about Power Trip and Opening Fire 2008 to 2014, kind of songs from them years are on this, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 songs. Of course, Power Trip is no longer Power Trip, they became DJOD, and like I say, I've never seen this, so I picked it up, glad I did, and looking forward to this. Then I stopped over there's one more I thought I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, I had bought two over at Mother's Records in Moorhead, but I don't know what I did with it. The one I did pick up, and I mean, the cover is like it's brand new. I used to have this at one time, and I'm talking about Lonnie Mack and Strike Like Lightning, blues guitarist, more of a heavy blues guitarist. Of course, this was released in '85 on Alligator Records. This has Stevie Ray Vaughan on it, and Stevie Ray Vaughan looks up to Lonnie Mack as an idol. And so I had picked this up, like I said, decent cover. And I can't remember what the other one was. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Of course, you got the famous green alligator label. And if you have never heard Lonnie Mack, definitely do so. If you're going to really get involved with Lonnie Mack, I would definitely pick up this album here. It's probably his best and heaviest. In his heavy blues guitar rock. So here's Lonnie Mack, Strike Like Lightning on Alligator Records from 1985. So anyway, guys, that is, I do believe that was all I had. Yeah. Unless let me double check here. Well, guys, sorry. That was it. So that's all I have for this latest Vinyl Hunter edition. Again, this is War God 60. Kevin, take care, VC. I'll see you next time, and peace out and take care.